And our ladies quarterfinal match contestant number 1 from Mississauga, Claudina Lista, averaging 237 points per game. Heading into this match, her opponent today from Font Hill, Shirley Chiki, averaging just around 240 in what is expected to be a very competitive match. The winner assured of $500. The runner-up, not too bad, Walter, $350. And again, a competitive match expected, and the winner moving on to the semi-final round as the ladder continues.
Well, moving on to the final, Paul, and what's happening, we're going to see a lot of experience with Claudina, and certainly Shirley, who has only had one Masters victory. She's certainly bowled for many years, but Claudina's been on a high lately, and we'll certainly talk about that.
Been bowling for 38 years. In fact, has won 1 Masters event and hoping to make it 2 here. And yes, I must correct myself. This is a semifinal match. Tough break on the left side there for Shirley.
Well, in her own backyard here, and she's certainly from Font Hill and certainly does some bowling here, and likes to bring the ball in from the right-hand side, and is going to have a lot of experience here.
High score in this tournament of 290, and I'm sure if she matches that, she'll move on to the final round. But Claudina Lista certainly no slouch when it comes to this sport.
Well, no slouch. 7 Masters wins. Just returned from a Red Deer, Alberta, where she won second place in the Canadian Open, just losing out to Laurie Thompson from British Columbia. Seasoned player. She's already had 2 games under her belt here today, beating both Sue Wanklin and Connie Dreher, and she'll like these 2 frames here to get rolling.
1 pin, far left-hand side, still standing. Talking to her about the second place finish out in Red Deer. Of course, that was on national television, televised by CBC, and she said the television didn't bother her, just lost her concentration going into that final match.
Well, lost her concentration, didn't really have a good game, bowled only 200, and certainly Laurie's game was only 248, but she survived missing the head pin a few times in the middle of the game, and beat Claudina easily.
And this after Claudina led all qualifiers going into that final round.
Well, that's right. And not only here, but they're going to get a chance to repeat that rivalry. They're going to play in the Canadian Masters Championships, which begin July the 4th in St. John's, Newfoundland. And Laurie will be representing BC. Claudina will be from Ontario. And it'll certainly give them a chance to go at it again. And it makes for a lot of fun in 5-pin bowling.
No, sir, not on the right-hand side. Of course, when we talk about the Masters for Claudina, this will be her 3rd trip to the Nationals. They in St. John's, as you mentioned. She has won a silver and a gold, and hoping to stay within the top 3 again this time.
Oh, exactly, and should do very well. I think when you look at the overall scoring here this weekend, Paul, the ladies suffered a little bit. The Claudina and Shirley both finished in a group, and they found themselves 250 pins behind Brenda Heeney, and I think Brenda Heeney dominated this field, and the ladies just didn't score as well, and they're just not, when the ball just not getting enough turn on it, and that may be part of it when it's during the release, and this may be where, if anything, Shirley might have a little bit of an edge because she can turn the ball over a little bit. She brings it out of her hand. You see it turn right there, and you see it carries into the pocket.
Nice play to the far right-hand side, gets them all down.
In fact, she brings the ball right to left on with a hook ball action, and gets out of the gate here. And that first frame where you bowl that 1 frame by yourself, you get that out of the way. She got a spare there, so that helps her a little bit. And now she gets the chance to put a couple of numbers up, and Claudina, who had to come from behind to beat Connie Dreher, may find herself doing the same thing.
Shirley's had a personal best of 417 and continues to bowl like that. She'll come somewhere close. However, scores have been somewhat down here, but I guess comments about the lanes have been very favorable, and they've
down for the ladies. They've been up for the men. The 2 bowlers, 2 2800s and 2743 to make the stepladder for the men was certainly as good a scores as we've ever had. Well, it's going to be up to Claudina here to get things going, and there's a strike to get back in this game right now. It's still early as they jockey back and forth.
Oh, and, sure is.
Just trying to keep the flow going here and putting some marks up on the board.
It's been 6 years since Claudina last won the Rose Festival Classic. 1983. There's your score.
Oh, it's been a popular event. Brenda Heeney, of course, is the defending champion, so we're seeing something a little extra special when Brenda gets back to defend her crown. There's a left corner, a good count. And just wants to keep sparing. As you know, you watch her spare this. When she shoots at this left corner pin, she'll be playing the ball across the lane.
So this is a young lady who combines both academics with the athletics, and the athletics obvious to us here, but the academics, she is an architect.
An architect and a great role model for the bowlers, and a great example. She's part of the FAME program with the provincial government, the Female Athletes Motivating Excellence, and she's been part of that provincial program as one of our 5-pin bowling champions, and has done just an excellent job representing our sport.
Shirley Chiki here, of course, part of a very famous bowling tandem, Walter, when we look at her husband, Joe.
Well, Joe, who's a Hall of Famer, and she dropped this one out a little bit.
Oh.
And she let it go. And, yeah, Joe's been inducted into the Hall of Fame, certainly one of the top bowlers in the Niagara area, and certainly across Canada. And certainly Joe and Shirley have been a great twosome. Turns that ball over there just right.
Nice shot.
Brings it around. That's the hook ball action, moving it right to left, and gets that spare, and wants to put another mark on the board here, showing a 20-pin lead right now through 3 frames.
That called for a precision hit on that front pin.
Well, you want to be on the side. It's similar to the strike shot. You just want to keep the same motion up, and now on the spare. This is where you want to hit the head pin. And she does, and gets the count, and gets some local support here, too, being in Welland at the Rose Festival, and certainly a lot of local rooters, and both of them very, very popular players.
Shirley's in a groove. Claudina hopes to get back into one here.
Well, it just wants to keep the marks going along. Certainly Shirley's on a fine game with 125, and the 5-pin game is so high scoring, and that's the problem right there, the splits. And Claudina knows now that she's got a problem bringing herself through the 4th frame with 98, and Shirley's lead is 27 and is going to start to grow.
In Claudina's semifinal match win over Connie Dreher of Hamilton, Connie had a similar problem, knocking out the front pin, but nothing else.
Yeah, Connie's, she played out west also, and her team finished 3rd out there, and she's been going through a lot of bowling lately, and she's glad to have the season end.
Gonna miss it.
I guess what Connie, with her biggest effort this year, she turned to coaching even at her young age, and coached the Bantam boys team from Hamilton to a national title.
Major sacrifice.
Out in Regina, gave up a chance to play on the national team, and certainly it was a major sacrifice and a commitment to the game, and at her young age she should be congratulated. Here's Claudina now with a major problem. Wants to put a mark up on the board. Let's get a mark.
There we go.
Get a mark, get us especially a strike. That's all you can do at that stage of the game, and turn it back to Shirley.
Walter, you mentioned Shirley, famous to these lanes, and of course the area as well, and Dunville.
Dunville with her
ready mix concrete business.
Sure, done very well for herself. There she goes, another strike though, and yeah, her and her late husband Ed, who built that together, Ed Neal, and like I say, now with Joe, and certainly one of the more pleasant 5-pin bowling stories.
Of course, advancing this far over the course of 10 games, you're going to have your highs and lows, and Shirley had a low of 182, but again a high of 290. So that 182 was a rare occurrence, and she bowled well enough, of course, to make the ladder and to see her on television today.
Well, and sitting right now with a 59-pin advantage, Claudina has pretty well got to come with some strikes now. The way Shirley has just excelled here with throwing this triple in a row, we better get some strikes in a hurry. That was almost a must shot, and she needs certainly the minimum of a corner pin spare here just to keep this along. Like I say, trailing by 59 pins. They're both on doubles. And Claudina certainly has her work cut out for her here, as she's wants to keep the same motion. She's been crossing the ball over the head pin a little bit, putting it in the left-hand side. And I think that's going to do it. Only the 8th frame, but she's going to find herself into a big hole.
And I'm not sure whether television plays a factor, but I think the key for Claudina is to stay off television.
Well, part of it, I guess, but when you're so good, it's the point that you're on TV so often, you're in the finals, and you know, it's tough to be the winner all the time, and certainly it's great to just be there. And I know the old story about Jack Nicklaus, how he had more second-place finishes than anybody else, and you do that because you're so great.
Good play down the left-hand side, knocks out the remaining pins, but the mountain is high and perhaps insurmountable.
Insurmountable, because it's 276 is the best that Claudina is looking for, and Shirley's going to get that. Gives us a chance to look at Connie Dreher. Her score 2388, won $250. Sue Wankin with her 2349 picked up 200. Brenda Hamilton with 2342 picked up 160. And Sandy Cuthbert, she was the last lady in the money, picking up $140. This miss of the head pin, though, brings her 205 through the 6th, and still well in control, looking at 276 to wrap it all up. And Picks up another 25 in this frame to bring her to 230, and 276 is getting ever closer.
Mention prize money, Walter, and evident you can have fun on this tour and make a buck as well.
Make a buck as well. Certainly Ian Cameron, Rick Wilkins, a couple of the fellas made close to $7,000, I guess, this year. And certainly it's certainly a recreation and a sport, and it's something the fellas have been able to parlay into something a bit lucrative. Dave Pankoff, of course, is the biggest winner this year. Brenda Heeney's fiance, winning $25,000, which was the major 5-pin prize.
Well, Brenda with an opportunity to pad that honeymoon fund with a probable victory here this afternoon.
With another 1,000. She's certainly the heavy favorite, and looking at another 1,000 to take with her. Shirley here isn't in any trouble. She's just had a poor frame last time. She misses the head pin again here, but knowing that 276 is the maximum score, she's
perhaps a chance to let up just a little bit, knowing you've got such a big lead.
Picks these pins up here. It's going to be up to Claudina's going to have to throw 4 strikes in a row, and pinning these pins here. Claudina now needing 4 strikes in a row, and that's going to be a most difficult task. And sitting through the 9th frame at 255. Like I say, the best Claudina is going to is 276, and every shot has to be a strike. So it's a major undertaking at this stage. Difficult.
Yes.
There's the first one. Needs 3 more.
Lista was telling me that during her years in YBC wasn't all that successful. Had to take some time off during school, university, of course, but has come back with a tear since then in 1983, and as we mentioned, has won 7 master tournaments.
That's right. Done very, very well. Went to school in Buffalo, so she didn't play 5 pins as much. And like I say, looking here for 3 more, and
there we go.
She's 2 away from having a chance. And
not going to go down without a fight.
Not without a fight. And that's to say, as each shot becomes a must to have. She'll be looking back at this game, wondering why she put herself in such a hole.
Member of Park Royal, Bowl-O-Rama in Mississauga up Truscott Drive.
And there it goes. Shirley Chiki's going to move on to the final. Play against Brenda Heeney as Claudina finishes up her game here. Just a lot to ask. The way the conditions were, Claudina averaged just under 240 for the weekend, and had bowled 265 and 279 before this, and a lot to ask to finish off as she bowls 246. And
regardless, just a great tournament.
Just a great tournament. Picks up some more money, picks up some more prestige, and certainly a place in the 5-pin game. We can look down the rest of the ladies. Helen McCallum, 2294, another lady that's going into the Hall of Fame this year. Shirley's coming up with a big finish. Linda Armstrong, who's going to Newfoundland with the Masters team, 2249. Anna Gazdia, 2236. Jen Donovan, 2228. Mark Bratkin, 2216. Anna Swartzman, 2211, along with Susie Bowles from St. Catharines, 2211.
She's hot.
She's hot, and she's finishing nicely, and it's a nice victory for Shirley, and
confidence booster. She's going to need more of the same coming up against Brenda.
She's going to need more of the same. Brenda works the ball real well, and you're going to see the opposite style. Brenda works the ball left to right, and
wow. Is it going to go down? I don't think so.
Don't think so. A good working ball, though, and brings Shirley to 298. 298 to 246.
So Shirley advances to play Brenda Heeney from London in the championship match. That is coming up, and of course, first prize money of $1,000 at stake. We'll be back with more bowling.